For the second time in school history, the Spring Grove Lions boys basketball team is heading to the state tournament this week. The 29-1 Lions got by Goodhue in the sectional final last week. Head coach Wade Grinde joining us. And coach, what has made this a special season? What has made this a successful season?
It's just been the development of our kids all the way throughout the season. I think, the leadership has really come around. Our leadership dynamic has led the way with our senior group of kids. We saw their toughness that they showed in football, and I think that has just carried over into the basketball season. And the development of our supporting cast. Small schools always have one or two talented players. Everybody's got that, but the teams that are successful in the tournament time, it's always your 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys off the bench that make the difference. So definitely, the development of Jackson Strinmo and Caleb Griffin and Jacob Olrud and Hunter Holland and those guys that come in off the bench that some are starting, but some that come off the bench have really made the difference.
You mentioned this group obviously was a successful group in football this past fall, so that put you behind from a little bit from a schedule perspective in basketball. You didn't start your season until Monday, December 19th. You didn't have a home game until mid-January. How were you able to catch up knowing the fact that your football season went long, which was obviously a good thing, but how'd you get up to speed as quickly as possible?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great problem to have. And it was the same thing that happened to us in 2019. There was a deep playoff state championship run there. So we kind of had a good idea of what it was going to be like. And not to say that we were, ready to sacrifice games at the beginning of the season, but we knew that we wanted to have a gradual peak and to be playing our best basketball by the end of the year. So we really took it easy on them the first month. Our practices were more, execution wise, what we're going to do, not a lot of strenuous physical activity. And then, once the end of January hit, then we really started to build and, put the pedal to the metal. And you saw that in the improvement that we made. So, it sounds cliche, but you want to be playing your best basketball at the end of the season. And we kind of had the right formula for that. And that's exactly what happened.
And you look at your sectional run, you had a 15-point win, an 11-point win, and a 9-point win over Goodhue. I know Goodhue made that great comeback against you in the sectional final. How were you able to handle the sectional finals, knowing the fact that teams were going to give you their best shot?
Yeah, a lot of people talked about Section 1 being a mini state tournament. I know a lot of the media kind of built it that way, and it honestly was when you look at the kind of talent that was in Section 1. So, going into that, I think the biggest thing was the mentality of our players. Nothing really fazed them. The moment was never too big for them. We've seen it all year in football. If somebody made a good play against them, it was over and done with, and they just played on to the next play. So they really understood the next best action, and they just kind of, hung in there together. They're a very tight group of kids. They got a very good IQ, both on and off the court. That really helps. They're parented very well. They got a lot of character. So it makes our job a lot easier as coaches.
And we touch on the football season carrying over into the basketball season again. These kids were on the big stage in November and December. Does that give you a little bit more of a comfort feel as you head here to the big stage in March?
It absolutely does. We talk a lot about championship DNA. It's just an odd thing. Either you have it or you don't. I mean, every coach would love to tap into it and, have some sort of a recipe to turn kids into winners. But, I just really think it's something you're born with. And I think this group of kids has fed off each other. Some of them have it in spades and others have it, and they were able to, develop it throughout the season. So that's really some of the secret sauce. And there's just no way to, I wish there was, because if I've been doing this a long time. If there was a way to bottle it up and sell it, I'd be a rich man, Darren.
Well, I'll make a couple of phone calls, but if you haven't figured it out yet, it's probably not possible there, Coach. But going back to 2019, were any of these kids able to dress for that state tournament, or most of their memories getting in the car and heading up to the Twin Cities and cheering on the Lions?
No, there was no people dressing. There was a couple that came along as managers, in support, but they were in the stands. and they were watching, and that's priceless too. I mean, it's one thing to go up there and watch another town when you're a junior high or middle school or elementary kid, but when you're going up there and watching the kids that you've seen your whole life playing in front of you, that has a big impact on your program. And I can see what it's done here in Spring Grove for all of our sports, and it carries over into the girls' sports as well as the boys' sports. It's a huge deal here in small towns. You become royalty. And a lot of these kids understand their status in the community. They know how to stay hungry. They know how to stay humble. They know, that they're ambassadors for our school wherever they go. So we're really proud of them.
And last week you had the sectional final. You'll play again on Wednesday. How do you handle this time in between? How do you get them from happy to get to the state tournament mode to realize then that, hey, there's more work to be done?
This is the part that drives coaches crazy, honestly. There's, first of all, we're all celebrating a section championship, which is great. There's many, many distractions of people coming up and, celebrating with us, which is great. But we also understand that there's a job to do here. And fortunately, we have an excellent supporting cast. Our athletic director, Michelle Anderson, has been on this right from the beginning. Tanya Elton, our business director, has been on it. They love to do it. They're good at it. They've done it before. I have excellent coaches that have done this before. Coach Vicks has been there 16 times. He knows exactly what to do and how to do it. Our administration, Rachel Oudstuen has been great. She has been on the team, so she's excited to participate as well. And it really takes our booster club. I mean, the senior moms, the parents, everybody gets involved. It's really quite a machine behind the scenes when you see, what everybody's doing with lodging and meals and food and transportation and practices up there and shoot around. And I'm really lucky, feel really fortunate and very appreciative of what's happening right now here in Spring Grove. So I can just focus on coaching and try not to let it drive me crazy and lose any more hair that I have left on top of my head here.
And Mankato Loyola is going to be the team you face come on Wednesday afternoon, late afternoon, early evening. I know they're a team that you faced early in the season in January. You got a 61-54 win over them in Byron on January the 7th. What do you take away from that first matchup, or is it a case of that was 2 months ago and you both have improved a lot since that time?
You hit the nail on the head. Everybody's different. From that point in time, we're a much, much different team than we were then. So are they. The one thing I will say, they are all seniors. They're big, physical, mature. They're all about 6'3", 6'4". They've played on varsity since they were freshmen. They've played together a long time. They have great chemistry. And the game that we played them, we also had played them in the summertime. It was almost identical. We played a tight game back and forth. We were trailing. They were having success. We were having success. It was back and forth. And then they just kind of ran out of gas a little bit. And that was the difference in both of the previous times we played them. I've been watching film on them now. They're in shape now. They're physically ready to play. They don't play a lot of people like us. So fouls could be an issue if somebody gets in foul trouble and has to go to their bench too deep, it could really have an impact on the game. So this is not, the seeding thing for Class A is kind of a crapshoot, honestly. You're going to seed the top 5 and then it's random draw. And it has nothing to do with if you're the 6 or the 10. The year we went to state, we were the 10 seed and beat the number 1 seed in the state. So the seeding means nothing. When you get to this point in time, you're with the best 8 teams in Class A, and you got to bring it or you'll get bounced.
And as you approach this state tournament, do you try to treat this like any other game, or is it a case of trying to appreciate the moment that's right in front of you?
It's a combination of both, but you're crazy if you think you're going to say it's another game. I know coaches say that, and that's fine. You can try and talk yourself into it, but when you're driving downtown Minneapolis and you're staying in the Marriott and you got people, bringing you food and, you're going to, practice at Augsburg and Hamlin, it is different. So you have to embrace the difference and you have to enjoy that. and it's different for everybody. So it's not like it's something that, oh my gosh, we're totally out of our routine. It is different. And the best advice I have, or what I've learned from the times that we've been around it, is just enjoy that and still do your best to, when you step out on the floor, there's going to be a certain break-in period or feeling out process, but eventually as the game gets going, then it becomes like everything else. But prior to it and to start, it is different. So enjoy it.
All right, Coach, thanks for taking a few minutes to preview the state tournament with us. Congrats on a great season to this point, and hopefully it can become even greater this week. I know in the fall we had the phrase, get your butt to the bank, get your butt to the barn on Wednesday, and see some pretty good kids putting on a good show against Mankato Loyola. Best of luck to you this week, Coach.
Much appreciated, Darren. We'll see you up there.
Wade Grinde, head coach of the Spring Grove Lions, previewing the state boys basketball tournament.